What's up, kings and queens? It's your boy Dan from Daft Previews, and the W is back. Let's go. We've got a 3-game slate. I've got a couple of picks, a couple of leans from each game, which I'm going to share with you all today. If that sounds interesting, let's go. So we're jumping into Outlier. It's been a minute since I've been able to use this and share it with you all. But as you know, it is my go-to tool for all of my player props. They give you all the odds for each pick for different sports books and DFS apps. They also have a killer mobile app, so you can research on the go, or you can do it from the comfort of your own bed. If you're a lazy ass like me and you find it hard to get out, you can do it all on your mobile. Now, I do have a 7-day free trial for all of my viewers. You can check out the link for that in the description below. Now, if 7 days isn't long enough for you, how about 3 months? To celebrate the recommencement of the WNBA, I'll be giving away an Outlive subscription 3 months free. So whether it's your first time using it or if you already have a subscription, I can get this added to your account. Now, all you need to do is help me get this video to 150 likes and drop a comment below on your favorite WNBA player to bet on. If we do get 150 likes on this, I'll do a random draw for all the people who have commented. The winner gets 3 months free of Outlier. Let's go, baby. All right, we're kicking things off with the Minnesota Lynx versus the Washington Mystics. I think this is going to be a low-scoring game. The under is hitting 7 out of the last 8 games for Minnesota. And the Mystics, their offense has struggled. 9th in scoring and 12th in rebounds so far. What looks do I have in this one? Let's take a look. First one, Bridget Carlton. Let's take a look at her. And for her, I don't mind her 3-pointers made prop in this game. So over 2.5 3-pointers made for Bridget Carlton. She's covered this in 7 out of her last 10 games with Napheesa Collier in the lineup. Before the Olympics break, Napheesa Collier was somewhat injured, so she missed a bit of time. So the form for the Minnesota Lynx, if you just look at the numbers, it's going to throw you off a little bit. But I filtered it to ensure that we're only looking at games with Napheesa Collier in the lineup. And we can see she's hit that in 7 out of her last 10, averaging 3 3-pointers per game. Now, if we look at the matchup here, it's pretty decent. The Mystics, they do allow the 4th most 3-pointers made, and they also struggle to defend the 3-point line. Now, Bridget Carlton, she scores 48% of her points on spot-up shooting, with the Mystics a bottom 5 at defending the play type. So Bridget Carlton was actually pretty good in the Olympics as well, scored a lot of buckets, made a whole lot of threes, and I don't see why that stops today. So this is one of the leans that I have. I haven't placed the bet on it yet. It's pretty much a plus money play, so I do like it. I'm on the fence at the moment. Given it's probably going to be a low-scoring game, so I didn't want to take too many offensive props in this one. But the next look I have for you is for Kayla McBride. So for Kayla McBride, looking at her over 15.5 points. Now, she scored 17 points when they last match up earlier this season. She played 34 minutes, 6 from 12 from the line. Now, the matchup is a good one for this. The Washington Mystics, they do allow the 2nd most points to guards this season. Kayla McBride also scores a lot of her points through spot-up shooting. She scores in transition, off screens, and at the free throw line. All 4 of these play types, the Mystics rank in the bottom 3rd of the league. So in terms of matchups, this one is perfect for Kayla McBride. She is somewhat inconsistent, 5 out of her last 10, 12 out of 26 games this year. But when she hits hard. But that's the only risk in this for me. Inconsistency in terms of her volume and her output. But in terms of the matchup, it's brilliant. And she's done it against them before this season. So Kayla McBride, that's also another good look. The next one, we're looking at Stephanie Dolson. Now, we can see here in Outlier, she's got a pretty good hit rate for her points and her rebounds. I've seen a few people looking to take her points and her rebounds because the hit rate is so good on them. If you just look at her points plus her rebounds, she's hit this in 9 of her last 10 games, right? It looks crazy. It looks too good to be true. And that's because it is. So I'm looking to fade Stephanie Dolson today, but I'm looking to take her under 3-pointers made. If you look at her under 3-pointers made, it's almost a plus money play. Now, she has a pretty good hit rate of hitting this, which is pretty crazy. She's hit this in 15 out of 24 games this season. Let me show you. She's hit over 1.5 in 15 out of 24 games. It's a 63% hit rate. A lot of her other numbers. But I'm looking to take the under. Now, why would I fade her? Well, her last 5 games have been somewhat underwhelming. You can see it on the screen. She's only covered this in 1 out of her last 5 games. The matchup against the Lynx is a tough one. the Lynx, you can see it up here. They allow the fewest 3-pointers made on the season, the fewest 3-pointers made to centers. And if you look at where they're good at defending, Minnesota Lynx very good at defending above the break. They do it better than anybody else. And Stephanie Dolson, she lives there. 61% of her points come from above the break, and I don't see her getting many open looks. She's played the Lynx once this season, and in that game, 0 3-pointers made in 26 minutes. She did attempt 2 3-pointers, and she missed them both. Now, Stephanie Dolson is a great 3-point shooter. On the season, she is shooting 48% from deep. I just can't see her getting the volume to cover this line. Now, why do I say that? The reason why is because Shakira Austin looks like she's going to be playing this game. She's missed a lot of time. I think she only played 6 or 7 games at the start of the season. Then she's been injured. So she hasn't played since the end of May. So during the Olympic break, she actually returned to full practices. Now, in the 7 games that Austin played at the start of the season, Dolson's minutes dropped considerably. So if we look at her last 10 games as a sample size, she's playing pretty much 30 minutes per game. Now, if we look at 2024 games with Shakira Austin, we can see that the minutes dropped to 22.8 minutes per game. So a bit of a drop-off in terms of her minutes. So with less minutes, she's going to have less time to cover this line in terms of her 3-pointers made. So to summarize that, she's going to get less minutes. The matchup is terrible, and she struggled against this Lynx team before shooting from deep. Other than that, within this game, I did look at a couple of key players. Ariel Atkins, I didn't like anything with her. Nafisa Collier, I thought about taking her under. Could be tired after the Olympic break, travel, all that type of stuff. But I didn't want to get ballsy with it on the first day of the W coming back. So those are the 3 leans that I ended up with. So let's jump into the next game, shall we? Let's take a look at the Phoenix Mercury versus the Chicago Sky. Now, Chicago Sky, they do have the advantage. They're playing at home and they're well rested. Whilst the Phoenix Mercury, they're dealing with potential jet lag after returning from the Olympics in Paris. So they sent a few players over there. So safe to say that their preparation for this game is probably not ideal. But do have a couple of looks in this one, a couple of leans to share with you. The first one is Brittany Griner. I'm looking at over 6.5 rebounds for Brittany. Now, she's exceeded 6.5 rebounds in 6 out of her last 7 games on the road. You can see it right here. Absolutely astonishing. The game where she went under, she only played 11 minutes against the Indiana Fever. Outside of that, been covering it like a beast on the road. Now, in terms of the matchup, the Sky as a team are ranked in the middle of the league in terms of rebounds allowed. But if we flick it towards centers, they're actually sitting in the bottom 4. So she's played the Sky twice, but both of those were last season. Check it out, 10 and 11 boards in those games. I mean, the risk in this play is the jet lag and the travel impact. Does that impact her performance? Does it impact her minutes? That's the only risk I can see here with Brittany Griner. Outside of that, I do like it. Now, sticking with the Mercury, the next player that I like is Sweet Diana Taurasi. Let's take a look. So I'm looking at under 15.5 points for Diana Taurasi. She's the GOAT, potentially, but crazy things have happened. She's actually hit the over in this in 7 out of her last 10 games. So I'm not taking this pick purely because of recent form. What I do know is the Chicago Sky, they're a top 5 defense, which is, it's not the craziest thing. There's 12 teams, but top 5 nonetheless. Now, interesting stat here, and this is pulled directly from Outlier, that Diana Taurasi has failed to exceed 15.5 points in 12 out of her last 13 games versus top 5 defenses for points allowed. In those games, she's only averaging 10.2 points. Now, jet lag is a bitch. And at her age, she probably isn't going to bounce back as good as she once did. If we think about the way that she scores her points, Diana Taurasi, she scores within the pick and roll. She scores as a spot-up shooter, playing off the ball, coming off screens. Now, thankfully for me, the Chicago Sky, they rank in the top 3 at defending all of these different play types. So it could make it difficult for Sweet Diana to establish a rhythm in this game. I'm going to be brave. Fade Diana Taurasi in this one, under 15.5 points. The next one, we're sticking with the Mercury, and it's probably similarly themed, I would say, but we're looking at Natasha Cloud. I don't know where I started so much just then. Natasha Cloud, we're looking at under 7.5 assists. Now, Natasha Cloud, She's gone under in 8 of her last 10 games on the road, where she's only averaging 6.1 assists per game. This pick it correlates well with Griner, Tarossi, and Cooper if they aren't at their best after all their travel. Still, Natasha Cloud, she's hit the under 7.5 in 15 out of 24 games this season. Up against a Sky team, they rank in the middle of the league for assists allowed. So this isn't going to be an easy matchup, but it's also not going to be a really difficult one either. Now, Natasha Cloud is capable. I just question whether her key scoring targets are going to be on their game and whether she's going to be able to rack up that number of assists. Now we're jumping over to the Sky. We're going to take a look at Angel Reese in this one. And it might be a popular play, so getting this one out early for you guys, just in case this line starts to move. And I'm looking at over 12.5 rebounds for Angel Reese. This is a home game for her, where she's covered this line in 5 out of her last 6 games at home, where she's averaging 15 rebounds per game. Now, she has a great matchup with the Mercury. The Mercury, they do allow the second most rebounds per game, and they also allow the 4th most rebounds to the forward position. Outside of Brittany Griner, the Mercury don't have notable rebounders, so I do expect Angel to feast on the boards again. I think Camila Cardosa, she'll spend some time battling Griner, so I don't expect her to get too many rebounds. I think Angel's going to find a lot falling her way. And I like the hustle. I really do. So Angel Reese, over 12.5 rebounds. I do like that. Now, other things that I've looked at within this game, well, I've looked at everything, to be honest, but we've got Kennedy Carter. She's a popular look. She's been killing it as a late, but she did injure her ankle during the Olympic break. She looks like she's going to play. She also has a tough matchup in terms of her position, and her line's super high as well. So I wasn't down for that. Kalia Copper, her line's super high. She does have a good matchup and a good record here against the Sky, but again, that jet lag stuff is really throwing me off wanting to bet on her. So I'll take a pass on that. Let's see how these girls play, and then maybe in the next slate we can get back to them. Jumping into the last game now, it's the Liberty versus the Sparks. Now, the first one might be a popular pick, but hopefully I'm the first to get to it. Looking at Sabrina Ionescu, over 20.5 points. Now, Lainey Hamilton is out injured, and I've got a pretty crazy stat line. Check this out. If we look at games without Lainey Hamilton, we can see that in 7 games that she's been out, Sabrina's covered this line in 7 consecutive games where she averages 25.86 points per game. She's also been a beast on the road where she's covered this line in 4 straight games. She's also played the Sparks twice this season, scoring 21 and 24 points. Now, if we look at the matchup, the Spark, pretty easy matchup here. They allow the 5th most points to guards this season. They're not great at defending her play top either, so it's an excellent matchup for Sabrina. I think the key risk I see in this game is those impacts of travel, if they exist. But at the same time, Sabrina didn't see a lot of game time over there in Paris, so she might be a little bit sweeter than everybody else. Who knows? But Sabrina over her points, I do like it. Now, the next pick I'm looking at is, we're sticking in the same game. We're looking at Jonquel Jones, and I'm looking at taking it over 8.5 rebounds. I can almost guarantee, well, it's 9 now. You see, the line's already moved to 9. You can still get it at 8.5 in some places, but I'm sure this will be at 9.5 by the time this game tips off. So closing line value headed our way. Now, she's covered this in 8 out of her last 10 games, averaging 10.4 rebounds per game. She's covered in 4 out of her last 5 games on the road, which I like as well. She has an excellent matchup. The Spark, they do lack size inside, and they also allow the most rebounds per game to centers this season. So ticking all the boxes. As far as I know, Jonquel Jones is going to go to Paris, so she shouldn't be impacted by the travel side of things. The matchup is great. Her form is great. On the road, it's great. Damn. All signs point to yes. Now, it might be too good to be true, and she fucks it up for all of us, but based on the information we do have at present, Jonquel Jones over her rebound line is a great look. Now, other players that I did look at, obviously, we would have taken a look at Brianna Stewart, very much the same. She's had a great record against the Spark when she's played against them, scoring some points, but she played the most minutes in Paris, and there's a bit of travel, so I wasn't too keen on that. Jerica Hamby has had some success against the Liberty in the past, but her line seemed a little bit too high. And from what I understand, she played the 3-on-3 in Paris, so there could be some impacts to her. A lot of the role players I didn't necessarily want to fuck with, so I took a pass on that. So keeping it light for this particular one, but I, for one, pretty keen and glad that the WNBA is back. So if you're interested in seeing all the picks that I do land on, there's a link for that in the video description below. But I'll catch you guys in the next one. Best of luck to you. Peace.